Welcome in, everybody. It's an all-new Terranadome. My name, of course, is Scott. It is finally the real MLB opening day here today. Not that crap from Japan back 10 days ago. But first, we begin with your New England Patriots doing exactly what I asked them to do and exactly what I told you they were going to do. They go and they sign former All-Pro Stefon Diggs, the wide receiver who is a free agent. 3-year deal worth 69 nice million dollars. 26 of that only 26 of that guaranteed. I will tell you what that means for the team moving forward as the draft, excuse me, is now less than a month away. Also, it's back to baseball, right? Because it's opening day. Back to baseball. I will take a quick look at the landscape of the league at the outset of the season, and we will make some season-long predictions as well. Plenty of that talk will feature the Boston Red Sox and a little bit about the New York Yankees. It's an all-new Terranadome, and it starts right now. Terranadome. Minnesota was doomed from the start. I mean, this was a ass whooping. There's nothing short of that. It was a complete ass whooping. But I will tell you what, my friend, nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. And it is time to get them back in the AFC Championship game. I believe that, listen, you're right about Derrick Henry, especially in cold weather. No one's going to want to tackle that guy. So it's going to be imperative for the Buffalo Bills to jump out early in this game and get a lead and force Lamar Jackson to have to play from behind. They can do that. They're going to win this game. Mention things that we love to hear, like we're getting the entitlement out of our team, and we're going to earn the opportunity to come into this building every day. I absolutely love that. One thing I will say for sure, yes, they definitely need to go and spend some friggin' money. They're going to have the most cap space in the league, and I'm going to kill them every week on this show until they spend money. Terranadome, and it starts right now. But I'm going to say something that's completely insane, and no one's going to agree with me on it, and I'm going to say it right now. But the last guy on that list is Stefon Diggs. 31 years old. He just put out video literally within the last 24 hours on his Instagram of him training. He's 4 months post ACL. He looks pretty damn good. I think he can still go, but we all know that he's nuts. We all know that he's a huge problem in the locker room and a huge problem for quarterbacks. But I am imploring you, New England, you still have money out there. Go and get Stefon Diggs. I have officially lost my mind, but get Stefon Diggs to Foxborough immediately. This is this. I think it's just him and Cooper that can still be impact guys that are left. I know he's off the ACL, but the dude is still a freak. He was having a really good year in Houston, even playing second fiddle to Nico Collins. Get me Stefon Diggs on a plane to Foxborough, or I'm sorry, to Logan Airport. You know, the meme. Yes, folks, you just saw and heard the clip from a couple of weeks ago when I had my good buddy Josh Morris on the show. It was the free agency show. And at the time, I was begging the Patriots to make a splash at wide receiver. And the two names that I came up with were Amari Cooper, but when the one I really wanted was Stefon Diggs. And guess what? Less than 2 weeks later, they get it done. It's a 3-year deal for the former All-Pro at 69 million nice dollars with only 26 million guaranteed. Excuse me. So let's talk about this receiver because maybe you're a little bit of a more of a casual listener. Maybe you only really follow the local team here in New England. Maybe you don't know much about Stefon Diggs, a guy who's been in the league for a while. First of all, he'll be 32 a week after Thanksgiving, so won't play most of the season at age 31. He tore his ACL in week 8 of last year, which means it'll only be a 10-month removed recovery period from that major knee injury. Diggs has been around a while. He's been very good. 4-time former Pro Bowler, all with the Buffalo Bills, and a one-time All-Pro as well, also with Buffalo. 6 straight 1,000-yard seasons for Stefon Diggs from 2018 to 2023, and 5 100-catch seasons within that time span. The only year he did not hit 100 catches in that time span was 2019 when he had 63, but he still had over 1,100 yards. And he was on pace to hit both of those marks last year when the injury occurred. Now, A lot of people are obviously concerned about the knee, and a little bit less so, but certainly they're concerned about the age of the player as well. Here's what I can tell you, at least for on my own research. I just happen to follow Diggs on Instagram already because he's an entertaining guy. So a week before he made the visit here to Foxborough, which I believe was exactly 2 weeks ago today now, if I'm not mistaken. A week before that, he put out some Instagram reels of himself, like, doing strength and conditioning workouts, like running routes, catching passes. Guy was in a full sweat, so he was going 100% at it. And I'm going to tell you, he looked pretty good. Like, he looked fast. He looked like the same guy to me, but, not in pads, not in game action, not lining up against anybody. So it's not seamless, and I'm no expert, right? I don't measure arm length at the combine. So um this is a good signing, guys. There's really no way else to say it. This is a great sign for the Patriots. This is something that probably never would have happened in the Belichick era here. It's a splash. It's something that the receiver room needed because, to be completely frank with you, this is a guy that's done it all. He's done it at a high level and he's done it for a long time, right? So, concerns about his behavior, which has only ever been throw me the damn ball, just like any great receiver is, throw me the damn ball. You know how you alleviate that? You throw him the ball. That's how you eliminate it. So it won't be a problem because the rest of this receiver room isn't exactly Pro Bowl talent here, right? So this is that boundary, that X receiver that they needed, a guy that can line up on either sideline and beat a guy one-on-one off the ball and create separation. And I understand he's coming off an ACL, right? You'd never quite exactly know. But this is a guy that works his ass off. This is a guy that is very dedicated to his craft. And the other thing is that even if he takes, let's say, half a step, right? Let's say the injury costs him half a step. He was still a guy that was a step and a half quicker than most corners in the league. Anyway, I think that this is going to be just fine. He's always been an elite route runner and separator. That is a fact. That is not an opinion. If you want to talk about the money, 26 million, it's like, whoa, that's a lot of guaranteed money. It's really not. It's really not, guys. It's really not. Um, these guys, first of all, Patriots have the cap, right? They have plenty of room to spend on the cap. And this is the kind of thing you need to do. I mean, to be honest with you, you look at it, if you want to look at it on the surface, it's 3 for 69, but he's going to have to hit all sorts of performance bonuses to get there, right? So, but even at that, an elite receiver nowadays is going for 40 million a year. And if he maxes out his contract, he'll make 23 a year. You take this every day. $26 million deal guaranteed anyway. It's a win for both sides. It's nice for the player who's coming off an injury, and it doesn't break the team's back. This is a win-win. I've already had people say to me, "Oh, I'll be reminding you when he has his first meltdown and he's doing all this and he's doing all that." Well, I guess you can remind me at least in 2026 because for the first year, this thing is it's going to work, right? And if it doesn't, he won't be here because from what I've seen, and it doesn't mean that it's necessarily true because I can't verify it, but I did see something out there that's reported that he might have an opt out after year one of the deal. So if it really doesn't go well, he won't be here next year anyway. And yeah, then you can give me crap for it. That's fine because I'll have deserved it. So the Diggs thing is a good thing for the team. I don't think there's any two ways about that. What this also means is that it's 99% likely that the Patriots are going to do the boring but correct thing at number 4 in the draft, and they're going to take the left tackle out of LSU, Will Campbell. Enough of this bull crap about the length of his arms, like a quarter inch in length of a guy's arms is going to determine whether he can play left tackle or not. The guy's 6'6", like 300 something pounds. You're worried about that? Stupid. This is who they're going to take. It is the only way that I think that doesn't happen is if somehow the dynamic edge rusher, who is the best player in the draft, Abdul Carter, if he falls to them at 4, I think they would have to take that. But otherwise, I'm expecting the Patriots to go Will Campbell in the draft here. So this is just my guess. And I don't do all 7 rounds and all 252 picks or whatever it is, because that's just not me. It never has been. I'm sorry, ain't nobody got time for that. But here's how I think the first 4 picks in the draft are going to go, okay? You're going to have Tennessee that takes Cam Ward, the quarterback out of Miami. Cleveland will take Abdul Carter and line him up opposite of Myles Garrett if they hold true to their word and they don't trade Garrett, even though Garrett wants out. The Giants, because they just went and signed Russell Wilson after 4 days after signing Jameis Winston, they are going to take Travis Hunter. They're not taking Shedeur Sanders. Because to be honest with you, Shedeur might not be that great of a quarterback prospect. They have stopgapped it with Wilson and Winston. They are going to have Hunter and line him up on the other side of Malik Neighbors, and then that will make almost any quarterback in the league look good, right? So that's what the Giants will do at 3. That leaves you with left tackle Will Campbell. And I'm sorry, it's boring. Boring. It is. But it's exactly what this team needs right now, okay? And you can't tell me that it's not. Again, F the arm length. It doesn't matter. Campbell's a monster. Dude's got a chip on his shoulder right now because they're creating this stupid narrative about him at the combine. And he plays with an edge. That is a leader. That is what this team needs on offense right now. That's a character guy. That's a guy that's going to protect Drake May's backside. We need an angry guy in here. Get me more angry guys to play football. In case you were wondering what I thought about Shedeur Sanders, regardless of whether I think he can play or not, and something tells me he probably can, just don't love the physical tools, doesn't mean he can't play. Most likely landing spot for Sanders is at number 6 to the Las Vegas Raiders. Sorry, Geno Smith. You'll be a lame duck. Brady is going to have them take that kid at number 6 if he's still there because the Jags are on at 5, and they haven't given up on Trevor Lawrence yet. So we shall see. But yeah, that's where I'm at on the New England Patriots. So let's go back to the big topic at hand today, right? And this is going to be a quick one. This is a quick episode, probably a half hour long, maybe a little longer, but it's not like the NFL where you can sit here and you can go 1 week at a time and you only have to pick 17 games. This is a 162 game slog, and my Boston Red Sox are looking pretty prime this year, and I'm very excited about it, and I'll get to more of that in a minute. But this will be a quick rundown and a run through because we're going to have plenty of time to talk about baseball all season, guys. And plus, the first game's in less than 2 hours, and I want to make sure this puppy is up online before that game starts. So here we go. First of all, it's a Thursday, right? I've always found it weird. I've always thought it was weird. Why do we open up on a Thursday and not on like a Saturday when all the kids can watch? You know, nobody, people aren't working, people aren't at school. I've always thought it was weird, but it's been happening for longer than the 27 years that I've been watching baseball for. So I guess it is what it is, right? The structuring of these games, at least the start times are also weird today, right? So you have 2 in the 3 o'clock hour at 3:10, I believe, for both, or maybe one's 3:05, one's 3:10. Then you have 9 of them between 4:05 and 4:15. So literally, if you're like me, and shout outs to my kid sister for having T-Mobile. I don't have it yet, but I'm probably going to switch soon. But unless you have that free MLB TV deal and you can actually watch all those games at the same time, there's not, because they have a very cool new thing where it's like a quad box and like a red zone type thing that they do now. They've been doing it the last couple of years. It's pretty neat. It's called the MLB Big Inning. MLB TV has that if you didn't know. But it's still going to be, even for me, with what'll be 5 different screens in this room, it'll be next to impossible for me to watch every single game happen at the same time. It will literally be impossible. Yeah, it will. Then there's 1 game at 7 o'clock, and there's 2 in the 10 o'clock hour. So it's strange, right? It's strange. But it is what it is, again. So that was just my little ranting and my little bitch segment there for a minute. Just wanted to get that off my chest and be like, well, that's odd. But we're still tuning in, or at least I am. I don't know about you guys, but literally just wanted to tune into baseball today. So you may be wondering, oh, well, what about the betting angle? Is there something I can still bet on? Yes, you can bet on the sport every day, which makes it more maddening and more fun at the same time. That's your double-edged sword with betting. But futures, World Series odds. Some of these teams you will not be able to get a better price on than right now because there hasn't been a pitch thrown yet. And some of these teams, it's going to change over time. But just to give you an idea of what the industry thinks, this is on FanDuel. Although we only have the Sportsbook Rhode Island to bet on here, and I didn't have time to go over the border to bet on FanDuel or DraftKings today. But on FanDuel, as of an hour ago, here were the odds in order of teams to win the World Series. To no one's surprise, the LA Dodgers they have the shortest odds by far at plus 240. The team with the second lowest odds is at plus 850, the Atlanta Braves. Philadelphia Phillies are plus 900. Or I'm sorry, the Yankees are at plus 900. Philly at plus 1,000. Mets at plus 1,100. Then it goes Baltimore plus 1,600. Then we have the Red Sox and Houston Astros at plus 1,800. Texas Rangers plus 1,900. And then it really drops off. Chicago? I guess. I don't agree with this at all. But Chicago, Seattle, Minnesota, and Detroit, I don't agree with three of those four at plus 300. The San Diego Padres at plus 3,300. I love that bet, by the way. And the Cleveland Indians at plus. Ooh, sorry. I meant the Guardians. The Guardians at plus 3,500. So clear as day, the betting industry, and as they should, are all over the balls of the LA Dodgers. And they should be. The Dodgers have the deepest lineup in the league. By far the deepest rotation. We'll get into that in a little bit. I gotta say, I have to agree with it, but you have, I mean, anything's possible, I guess, right? But there are certainly some bets that I like in here. I took the Red Sox plus 1,500 on Sportsbook Rhode Island the other day. And I just took San Diego. I think it was plus 3,200 on Sportsbook Rhode Island. Or 30, it was 35. Because you like the value there, but ultimately, do I think it's going to be one of LA, Atlanta, or Philly? Yes, and I'll get to my picks later on, but that's what I think is happening. I think both of the New York teams are going to vastly underperform what people think that they're going to do, and I'll get into that later as well. Red Sox are a really sneaky play at plus 1,800. So here we go. Predictions, division by division. Great radio that everybody loves to listen to. Let's go division by division. I can think of two people that will, or maybe three, even three or four that'll be listening to me that completely disagree with everything I'm about to tell you right now. So here we go. In the American League East, give me the Red Sox to win the division. That's right, baby. That's right. No playoffs for like 5 out of the last 6 years. They're winning the division this year. They're number one. Baltimore will finish second. The Yankees will drop all the way to third. The Toronto Blue Jays will be in fourth, and the Rays will be in fifth once again. Why do I say this? Well, Boston's going to be better than you think. Pitching got a lot deeper in the offseason. Walker Buehler, Garrett Crochet, they revamped the bullpen. Got guys coming up. And the lineup is super loaded with even more help on the way. I don't think Roman Anthony even made the team. I don't know if Marcelo Meyer did yet either. I know Christian Campbell did. Devers agrees to be full-time DH, which helps your defense tremendously because you put a Gold Glover Alex Bregman at third. And the team can even afford the usual Trevor Story injury this year because it's coming and we all know it. So Baltimore's very good. They don't have the pitching after losing Ace Corbin Burns on a free agent deal to Arizona. The Yankees have way too many issues with their rotation already. Cole being out for the season is going to kill them. And despite the addition of Jason Dominguez, aka the Martian, into their lineup, can't play defense either. It's still not deep enough. And as far as the Rays, they're rebuilding, right? They don't have the horses at all. Although their lineup is going to be fun, I think, this year with Junior Caminero and others. And I think the Jays will be close with the Yankees, but they lack sufficient pitching as well. I do think it's a bounce back year for their entire lineup, which had a really weird year last year, except for Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who I think may even take another step forward this year. More on him later as well. So again, AL East, Boston 1, Baltimore 2, New York 3, Toronto 4, Tampa Bay 5. Let's go to the AL Central, which I believe is a complete toss-up, but here we go. We've got the Cleveland Guardians at 1. I cringe every time I say it too, guys. I can hear it. Kansas City, I still barely like them to eke out Detroit for the number 2 spot in that division, but that's going to be within a game or two. Like really, Detroit's pretty much there at this point. Minnesota Twins 4, and of course the Chicago White Sox will bring up the basement in the AL Central. My assessment here, I actually think the Tigers have enough to win this division. And Cleveland will always be in it because they churn out pitching like it's lemonade pitchers. Kansas City goes a step back, but they are still competitive, and they will barely edge out Detroit for the 2 spot as well. I think all 3 teams may make the playoffs like last year. Minnesota doesn't have the arms, and the White Sox, they're already eliminated from the playoff contention picture. But the White Sox will be back, just not this year. Now we go out to the AL. Well, so again, AL Central, Cleveland 1, Kansas City 2, Detroit 3, Minnesota 4, and the White Sox in last. American League West, another one that really feels like a toss-up here for really from any of the first 4 teams. But I'll take the Texas Rangers to win that division in a bounce-back year for them. Houston won't be as bad as people think they're going to be, although if you look at the odds, they don't seem to think Houston's going to be very bad at all. Houston's got questions going into the season. I think they'll finish second in the division. Give me the franchise that is now just called the Athletics in third in this division. Now, again, that might only be right around 500, but that is a much more talented roster than people think. And they have a ton of kids coming up that are going to make impacts. Watch out for guys like Tyler Soderstrom, Jacob Wilson. Lewis Butler just got a new deal. Or Lawrence Butler, I'm sorry, and he's awesome. And then you got Brent Rooker in the middle of that lineup. That's a good lineup. Their pitching is going to be tested because they're in a triple-A bandbox Pacific Coast League ballpark in Sacramento, but their pitching is talented as well. Athletics are an interesting team to me. Seattle at 4 feels like a stretch, and it feels like I'm not giving them enough credit. I don't think they have a good enough lineup, and the health of George Kirby will go a long way, and the effectiveness of Luis Castillo will kind of determine where Seattle's going to be at. And then in the rear, of course, you have one of the 4 worst franchises in the entire sport in the Los Angeles Angels, and poor Mike Trout. But don't feel too sorry for Mike Trout, because Mike Trout has had every opportunity to leave that bum franchise and he chooses not to do it. Okay? This is the same franchise that signed a lazy ball player to a massive contract in Anthony Rendon, and he has never played a full season for them. This is the same franchise that I don't have enough time to crap on the Angels. They made some acquisitions in the off season, like getting UC Kikuchi. So maybe they're a little better. I still think they bring up the basement of that division, the AL West. Again, rough one to pick because I don't think any of these teams will be particularly great, but they won't suck either. Texas has the best roster. Their health of their pitching is going to determine whether they win the division or finish 4th. And again, I think the A's are going to be a lot of fun to watch this year. I am sure, I know that people agree with me on that. So again, AL West, I like Texas to win the division. Houston in the 2 spot. The Athletics in the 3rd spot. I guess we're not calling them the Sacramento Athletics, and those poor people in Oakland lost their team. So I guess we're just calling them Athletics. The Seattle Mariners will be 4th, and the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim will bring up the rear of the AL West. So now let's go over to the NL. Exciting stuff. Division by division breakdowns, but also in a condensed format because let's face it, we got a lot of baseball to go. So I don't want to bore you to tears already. So listen, a lot of people love baseball. I'm one of them, but it's not for everyone. It's just like NASCAR, I guess, just on a much bigger scale. So in a completely different thing all at the same time. Anyway, the NL East, very interesting division. Maybe the most interesting one in baseball this year. I like the Braves to beat out the Phillies for the 1 spot, Philly in the 2 spot. The Mets, I think, will still take 3rd, and it could be relatively close between them and Atlanta and Philly. Nationals 4th, and the Marlins once again in 5th. So really no change from last year there. As far as that division is concerned, the Braves and the Phillies, to me, and of course the betting odds also, as I explained earlier, they reflect this. But to me, The Braves and the Phillies feel like the only teams that really have a shot to take the National League crown away from the Dodgers this year. The Mets definitely have a potent lineup, but they have almost no starting rotation at all. That's a fact. It's not an opinion. And the guys that they do have are hurt already. Washington. Washington, I like. Not enough to really make any noise yet. But Washington's going to be fun with their top outfield prospect tandem and James Wood and Dylan Cruz. They're both ready to break out, but I do think the Nats are still a couple years away from competing. And the Marlins won't be as bad as they were last year, which was complete dog water. But I'm sorry, Dave, they're still going to be bad. But one bright spot, Sandy Alcantara returns, and he reminds people that he's an ace. And maybe the Fish can even swap him at the deadline for a contender and get a lot of parts back, because that's what they do. That's what they do. So keep your eye out on Sandy Alcantara this year if you want a storyline from the Miami Marlins. Finally, oh yeah, so again, I'm all kind of a little scattered today. I'm a little excited about baseball, I guess. But again, NL East. Give me one. Give me Atlanta in first, Philly in second, the Mets in third, Washington in fourth, and the Miami Marlins in fifth. Two more divisions left, folks. Then we get to the my predictions for award winners. If you care about that, I cared enough to write them down, so I'm going to tell you. Both Centrals feel like toss-ups to me. The NL Central even more so than the AL Central. I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Reds. And I made this bet last year and I got egg on my face. I literally bet them to win the NL Central last year. This year, I think they do it. I will explain why in a moment. Milwaukee Brewers in second place. The St. Louis Cardinals in third. Give me the Chicago Cubs in fourth, and the Pirates still bringing up the basement in the NL Central, even though it really doesn't make any sense. But here's how I feel. The Central feels like an utter crapshoot to me. I think the Tito factor, Terry Francona going to the Reds, I think that springboards them to their first division since 2012. And to be honest, I didn't even realize it was that recent for the Reds, but it's been 13 years. The Brew Crew will fly under the radar and compete for the playoffs as usual. It's just what they do. St. Louis probably has too many holes in their lineup to make a run at the title, and also their best starting pitcher is 35 years old. I guess the same can be said for the Braves, though. Cubs and Pirates will compete for last. Pittsburgh should be so much better than they'll be, even with Skeens and likely top prospect Bubba Chandler and another good prospect Thomas Harrington in their rotation, along with an eventually healthy Jared Jones by mid-season. They still will fall near the basement in this division because they're simply managed so poorly as a franchise. It shows up every single year. And the Cubs are always a team you kind of low-key root for, but they simply lack the top-end talent. So again, in the NL Central, it's a total crapshoot, but give me Cincinnati to win that division. Milwaukee to finish in second. St. Louis to finish in third. We'll take the Cubs to barely beat the Pirates out for the last place spot. I think it's very possible that none of those teams win more than 85 or 86 games as well. So there you go. And now the one that's the easiest one to pick, at least in terms of the top spot, the National League West. Obviously, the Los Angeles Dodgers are my pick to win that division. It would take an awful lot for that not to happen. Give me the San Diego Padres in the 2 spot. The Arizona Diamondbacks just barely behind them in 3rd place. San Francisco Giants in 4th, and obviously the Colorado Rockies will bring up the rear. The 4 worst franchises in the sport of baseball in order are Colorado, and then a mix of either the Angels, the Pirates, and who am I missing? I guess the Marlins, but there's another one there that I'm missing. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it right there. So anyway, NL West. There is nothing that is stopping the Dodgers from taking this division. There's nothing that will stop it. I'm just telling you. All I want you to do is think about how many starting pitchers they have to begin with. Let's just start there. So they have, in no particular order, by the way, because like all of these guys could be really good, right? At any given time. One of them's even won 2 Cy Youngs, and I'm going to mention him 4th. So first, they have Roki Sasaki, the import that they just got from Japan. He's so young and so good. Then you have Yamamoto, the guy they got last year from Japan, who's also really good. Tyler's made of glass now, actually held together last year. He's nasty. Blake Snell, oh, by the way, just won his second Cy Young award. Then you got friggin' Clayton Kershaw, who's still around, and we all know how good he's been over the course of his career. Then you got guys like Bobby Miller, Dustin May, Emmett Sheehan, all in the mix. And I'm still forgetting somebody. Who could that be? Oh yeah, Shohei friggin' Ohtani also is going to pitch for the Dodgers this year. Okay, so that's nine guys, and probably most, if not all of them, are going to make starts for that team in 2025. Good friggin' luck. Okay. Their lineup isn't as deep as people fear, but it's still better than most. It helps that they have three surefire Hall of Famers in the middle of that lineup in Freeman, Betts, and Ohtani. Even if they're all over the age of 30 at this point, I think Ohtani is 30. Freeman, I think it's 36. Betts, I believe it's 32. And by the way, Mookie Betts, please get well soon. We still love you here in Boston, Mook. And he's been fighting a really nasty illness for the better part of a month now. So I really hope that he recovers from that, of course. Second place, Padres and Diamondbacks are going to claw for that spot. I like them both, but both of the lineups lack depth. Both rotations are top heavy. The Giants, scrappy fun team. Scrappy fun. But outside of Logan Webb, not much pitching help. We got a couple good arms in the bullpen. Not a ton of pitching out in San Francisco. And Colorado is the dumbest franchise in baseball. This is I will say this more than one time this year for sure. And it's a shame because they are so dumb and so poorly managed that it's almost like straight out of the onion, right? Every time they make a headline, it's always something that's so incredibly stupid you can't believe it. The latest one was trading Nolan Jones back to the team that they got him from like 2 years later. Whatever. But I'll tell you what, for the people in Colorado, for anyone out there that may be seeing this or listening to me right now, just so you know, we feel for you. It is a damn shame because for the Rockies to be this stupid because they have an amazing ballpark, one of the best venues in the world up there in Colorado, and they have a great fan base by all accounts. So it sucks for these poor people. It really doesn't feel like the Rockies have been making a serious effort in a very long time, and those people deserve better. It's a shame, but those are the predictions, folks. National League West one last time. The Dodgers an obvious winner. San Diego and Arizona, you might be able to flip them or throw a blanket over the two of them. How close they're going to be together by the end of the season. Then you've got San Francisco in the fourth spot. Colorado bringing up the rear. Those are our division previews. So you may be asking, well, who's going to win the pennant? Who's going to win the World Series? I'm getting to it. We're closing out the show now. So we're going to do the award winners. Everybody loves to talk about award winners, right? And I am going to get a bunch of crap for some of these picks. I don't care. It's my show. We will have you on the show soon if you want to debate me about well, actually, the more I look at it, none of this really seems too insane, right? So here we go. Cy Young Award winners. Give me Tarek Skubal of the Detroit Tigers to repeat once you get he will win it for the second year in a row. I think Skubal's dominant. I think they have to manage his workload a little bit better this year, but I don't. He's still durable outside of the arm injury, the Tommy John, and when he came back from that, he produced a Cy Young season in his first fully healthy season since last year. Give me a back-to-back for Tarek Skubal, the lefty from Detroit. The NL Cy Young, I think, is a pretty obvious pick, or at least it's the sexy pick that everyone's going to go with, and it's Paul Skeens, right? Paul Skeens of the Pirates, the young flamethrower. I still think this is a guy that is a prime candidate for Tommy John at some point because he simply throws too hard. His average fastball is over 97 miles an hour. He throws too hard. We've seen this happen with DeGrom. Skeens is built like a tank. I'll take Skeens to hold up and be the Cy Young this year, but I'm worried about him moving forward. MVP awards. MVP awards. In the American League, this is going to be controversial because, these are not easy picks to make, right? Give me Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Vladdy Jr. He's going to take it higher this year. Maybe he doesn't hit 330 again, but he doesn't need to. But I think that 35 to 40 home run power comes back. I don't necessarily think the Judge is going to really fall off or anything. Just think Vladdy's going to have a season that's too good to ignore because he is playing for a massive payday this year. And it seems like no matter what, he's not taking an offer from the Blue Jays and wants to test the market. This kid is going to have a gigantic season, bigger than his gigantic ass, frankly. So give me Vlad Jr. for the AL MVP. National League MVP. I'm going to go with Juan Soto. You got to go with Soto. He just got the bag. He says he wants to be the best hitter in the world. I think it's Soto's time to grab an MVP award. I don't think that this is outlandish to say at all. Give me Soto. Give me Soto for MVP with the New York Metropolitans. Rookies of the year. Now these two are interesting. It's going to sound a little homerish, but give me Christian Campbell of the Red Sox for AL Rookie of the Year. The kid can play different positions. He's going to hit for power. He's going to probably hit for average, and he's going to steal bases as well. He's an electric athlete. Give me Campbell for Rookie of the Year in the AL. In the National League, give me James Wood. Similar in the sense that they're both super young. James Wood is an outfielder, a guy that's like 6'5" or 6'6" and can run. He has power and he can hit for average. I like James Wood as a Rookie of the Year in the National League. If not, I might like his teammate Dylan Cruz just as much. So I mentioned them earlier as well. Relievers of the Year, not as interesting, right? But give me the Braves closer, Raisel Iglesias in the NL. I'll take him for NL Reliever of the Year. And in the American League, this should be an obvious pick, guys, but it'll be Mason Miller, the guy who throws 104 miles an hour for the Athletics. So those are my relievers of the year. Comeback players of the year. Two guys that won MVPs, by the way. Both of them missed a lot of time last year. I think both of them are going to hold up okay this year. Mike Trout in the AL Comeback Player of the Year, and give me Ronald Acuna Jr. in the NL Comeback Player of the Year. And finally, let's do the pennants. The Boston Red Sox going back to the World Series, guys. Yep. I've lost it. I've officially lost my mind. I've lost it, guys. I'm taking the cheese. The AL looks incredibly weak to me this year. It looks super weak. It's there for the taking. This Red Sox team is on a mission. They are friggin' loaded to the teeth. The health of their top two starters will be everything, but they've got depth in the rotation as well. Give me the Red Sox to win the AL pennant. National League pennant. Obviously, the Los Angeles Dodgers. As much as I personally, I've always liked Atlanta and Philly. I always have. Philly because of Cole Hamels. For those of you that know me, you know what that means. In Atlanta, they were always on TV when I was a kid. Even more than the Red Sox were. They used to be on the TBS Superstation. I'd watch them all the time. Those loaded late 90s and early 2000s Braves teams. I love the Braves. I do. I hate to say that because we all know that one Braves fan, right? But it's going to be the Dodgers in the NL pennant. So it's Red Sox Dodgers in a rematch 7 years later of the 2018 World Series. Unfortunately, this time, I think the Los Angeles Dodgers are going to repeat, guys. 4-2. 4 games to 2. The Dodgers beat the Boston Red Sox in late October for the 2025 World Series. Folks, that is the show. It's a rundown of sorts with baseball season. Thank you for hanging with me for these full 40 minutes here. My name is Scott. It's the Terranadome. You can always check out previous episodes. Just check out the YouTube channel. Please hit that like and subscribe button. And also, you can also check us out on Spotify and pretty much wherever you get your podcasts. So we will be back next Wednesday, and then it will be about 9 days after that until we're back after that. But we will be back next Wednesday with more breaking news. We'll be getting ready to wrap up Bruins season, among other things. And we're going to have to start talking about the Celtics in the playoffs real soon, too, boys and girls. It's a great time of year. Oh, yeah. And we're going to talk about who's left in the NCAA tournament because we didn't even have time to get to that today. So, again, my name is Scott. It's the old Terranadome. And thank you so much. Again, enjoy the games today. And tell somebody you love them today because tomorrow is not promised, people. Please do that. All right. Thank you very much. Be safe, be well, and go Sox.